Hey everybody, Spartan from SpartanTrading.com. I want to hit you guys today with a couple different trade reviews. I think both are good situations where we can learn from. Usually, every week you see me do a trade review, and then the next week I typically do an education type video. But I think this week I'm going to combine the two because I think the best way to learn is through looking and application-based type learning, so you can see how the situation works and you can actually apply something that you learn to a situation you may see in the future. So let's talk about a couple different trades. Now, two trades I want to talk about. One is going to be a low float trade. One's going to be KODK, an options trade. And I want to talk about the situation, what happened. Now, KODK is the type of name, and you'll notice this on some names, that when they start to get option activity, there could be some price action that follows. Either it could be just momentum, or it could be news. With KODK, what I saw in the morning was I saw some interesting price action. Whenever I see interesting price action on KODK, it's kind of suspect, and I always tend to find that there is some sort of push after, either it's news or there's some sort of momentum. So what I did on KODK was this morning in the group, in the live chat group, and trading wise, we took the 10 calls. So we took the 10 calls, and I'll bring up the actual trade itself so you can see it. So we took the 10 calls. Now this wasn't a super complicated trade. Had about a 22.5 cent average. So grab some 25 and 20 cents. It started to push up. We ended up locking some in for 37, 38 cents, almost all of it, 3/4. And we sold the rest when it started to pull back down at the 28 cent area. So at this point, like 65%, 60% profit on the stock, or on the option. Now, I wanted to maintain a position in KODK. So what I did, and what you can do to do this, is roll the position. Now, what is rolling? Rolling is using your profits from an original position to take another position on that stock. In this case, I didn't want to risk anything on owning KODK, because KODK, if it fails, it fails. You're going to lose the money on the contracts because they're obviously very cheap. They're out of the money, and if premium comes out, they're going to be worth nothing. In this case, I knew that was the situation, so I took my profits. I rolled them into the 11 calls, which you'll see in a second. I actually went a little bit too big on the 11s right out the gate. So I got some at 15 cents, 16 cents, 18 cents. My average was around 17 cents on this. I sold a little bit on 25 cents just to reduce it back to my profit amount that I had rolled into the position. And then basically news came out on the stock. So we got a little bit lucky in that regard. And you can see it here. News came out on the stock, and I sold the rest of it at $2. So this ended up being 1,000% trade, 1,070%. Based off of the notion of understanding that this stock tends to get, unusual price action in the options, and there's some sort of action that follows. Now, you're going to see this type of pattern in a lot of different names. It's your job as a trader to recognize these things. What I do is I make little notes, mental notes, write them down. The more times you see these types of patterns, the more prepared you're going to be when they repeat themselves. So unusual price action or options activity could indicate there could be a move coming up later, and if you know what to look for, then obviously you can position yourself correctly. In this case, made some money on the first position. It was paid for, no risk. Took a second position, and we got lucky on it. News came out, and we sold the rest of it for 1,000%. So it was a good trade. Now let's take a look at another trade example, guys. This one's going to be a low float stock. So I want to talk about this LEXX today. Now LEXX was a not a very complicated type of trade. Basically, it broke the range to the upside on the daily. That got me interested in it. It's a reverse split name, I believe, just because there's no data to the left. Usually that indicates on my platform that it's a reverse split. I can confirm that for you, actually. Let's just take a look. If I type it into this one, I should see data on the left if it's not a reverse split. Oh, I guess maybe it is. Okay, so I'm right. It is reverse split, which I figured anyways. Anywho, so this name, LEXX, was starting to break out of the range on the daily chart. I saw that. I immediately took a position based off of that at the 560 area. It was added into it pretty quick. It started to push up. It sold a little bit at 611, but I noticed that there wasn't really any sellers in the name. I was watching the L2. Not a lot of sellers were coming in, so I immediately added back my position that I sold. As it continued to grind higher, I added back to the position even more to get full size. And then basically as it pushed, my first sale after that was at, being up 1 point from my original entry. So went, popped to 667, 665. I saw that there was a little bit of double top. on the 10-minute as well as sellers on the L2. So I took some off. It started to flag break to the upside. I added back full size on the position, 675. And then it popped all the way towards 757. And I sold about, I believe it was 1/2 of the position and held the rest. So held the rest of the position. I figured it was going to continue to go higher. It was holding the range all day. EMA support was intact. Trend was intact. It ended up breaking this parabolic trend. It started to come in. And I took some more off on that little pullback into the trend. I took off around 1/4. So I had about 1/4 size left. And in the after hours, I saw that it was flag breaking. It started to push, and then I added back into the position around 750. And then right now it's trading at 760. Had a decent little pop, but these low floats have been running, biotech especially after hours. So I figured I would take a little bit more position. So all in all, from start to finish on this trade so far, 2 points. Right now I've got mental stops on it. You can look back and see what has happened on this trade because I don't know yet, and this video will be posted either Thursday or Saturday. Not sure yet, but anyways. Yeah, we'll see what happens. 650 is my mental stop on the rest of it. That's an in-the-money stop for me. And yeah, 2 little trades, 2 little examples that I think you guys can learn from. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to go to SpartanTrading.com. You can hit me up there, ask away. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.